The foundation of Brazilian democracy lies in a delicate balance of power. This balance is maintained by the three branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. Each branch plays a crucial role. The executive, led by the president, enforces laws. The legislative, composed of the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies, creates laws. And the judiciary, with the Supreme Federal Court at its apex, interprets laws. This system, inspired by Montesquieu's separation of powers, is designed to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful. It ensures checks and balances. Each branch can scrutinize and limit the actions of the others. This framework is essential for a healthy democracy. It safeguards against tyranny and promotes accountability. However, the relationship between these branches is not always harmonious. There are often tensions. Power struggles can emerge. Recent years have seen a notable shift in this dynamic. This shift has raised concerns about the future of Brazil's democracy. Understanding these changes requires a closer look at the individuals and events shaping this new political landscape. It demands an examination of the motivations and strategies of key players. And it necessitates a consideration of the potential consequences for Brazil's future. The Brazilian Congress, the heart of the legislative branch, has undergone a significant transformation. Davi Alcolumbre and Hugo Mota now lead the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies, respectively. Their leadership marks a departure from the recent past. It signals a potential shift in the balance of power. Alcolumbre and Mota share a common goal: to reassert the legislature's authority. They believe that Congress has ceded too much ground to the other branches, particularly the judiciary. They argue that the legislature's role in shaping legislation has been diminished. This, they contend, undermines the very principles of democratic representation. Their strategy involves several key elements. One is to exercise greater control over parliamentary amendments. These amendments, often used to modify bills during the legislative process, have been criticized for their lack of transparency. Alcolumbre and Mota aim to introduce greater scrutiny and accountability to this process. Another element is to revise procedures that they believe have weakened the Senate's influence. They argue that the Senate, as the chamber representing Brazil's states, has been sidelined in recent years. Their efforts to restore the Senate's standing are central to their vision of a more balanced power structure. The rise of Alcolumbre and Mota represents a new chapter in Brazilian politics. Their success or failure in achieving their goals will have far-reaching consequences. It could reshape the relationship between the branches of government, and it could determine the trajectory of Brazil's democracy for years to come. The relationship between Brazil's three branches of government has always been fluid. It's a dance of power, with each branch vying for influence. However, recent years have witnessed a particularly tumultuous period. The balance has shifted, creating uncertainty and raising concerns. The judiciary, under the leadership of the Supreme Federal Court, has been increasingly assertive. It has played a more prominent role in shaping public policy. This has led to accusations of judicial activism from some quarters, particularly from those who believe the court is overstepping its bounds. The executive branch, under President Lula, has also faced challenges. While Lula enjoys popular support, his administration has had to navigate a complex political landscape. The rise of a more assertive Congress adds another layer of complexity to this dynamic. The legislative branch, traditionally seen as the weakest of the three, is now flexing its muscles. Alcolumbre and Mota's leadership represents a clear attempt to reclaim lost ground. Their efforts to assert Congress's authority have the potential to reshape the balance of power. This intricate dance between the branches is far from over. The outcome of this power struggle will have profound implications for Brazil's future. It will determine the direction of the country's democracy and the lives of its citizens. Jair Bolsonaro, despite his defeat in the 2022 presidential election, remains a potent force in Brazilian politics. He is already strategizing for a comeback in 2026. Central to his strategy is an alliance with the Centrão, a bloc of center-right parties known for their pragmatism and their ability to wield influence in Congress. The Centrão, often criticized for its transactional approach to politics, is seen by Bolsonaro as a key to regaining power. By securing the support of this influential bloc, Bolsonaro aims to advance his agenda and undermine the Lula administration. This alliance is mutually beneficial. Bolsonaro gains the legislative muscle he needs to challenge his opponents. The Centrão, in turn, secures access to power and resources. This alliance, however, is not without its critics. Many see it as a marriage of convenience, driven by political expediency rather than shared principles. They argue that it undermines the integrity of Brazil's political system. Nevertheless, the Bolsonaro-Centrão alliance is a force to be reckoned with. It has the potential to reshape the political landscape in the run-up to the 2026 election. In the wake of recent events, many citizens have begun to question the allocation of national resources. Concerns are being raised about the effectiveness of current spending policies. Are we investing wisely in our future, or are we merely patching up old problems? These are the questions echoing through town halls and public forums across the country. As the debate intensifies, the pressure mounts on policymakers to justify every dollar spent. The nation stands at a crossroads, contemplating the balance between immediate needs and long-term goals. Now let's delve into a case study that raises an important question. Is this an example of excess? Some argue that the resources allocated could have been better spent elsewhere. Others believe that the investment was justified, given the potential long-term benefits. It's a debate that continues to spark discussions among experts and policymakers alike. This brings us to another critical point of contention. Was this a necessary investment or a misplaced priority? On one hand, proponents highlight the strategic importance and potential returns. On the other hand, critics argue that the funds could have been directed towards more immediate needs. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, reflecting the broader challenges faced by the nation. Congress plays a pivotal role in this ongoing quest for balance. Lawmakers must weigh the pros and cons, considering both short-term and long-term implications. It's a delicate balancing act, requiring careful deliberation and a deep understanding of the multifaceted impacts. Their decisions will shape the future trajectory of the country's policies and priorities. Navigating the uncertainty in Brazilian politics is no small feat. The landscape is constantly shifting, with new challenges and opportunities emerging regularly. Political leaders must remain adaptable and responsive, making informed decisions in an often unpredictable environment. It's a dynamic and ever-evolving scenario, demanding resilience and strategic foresight.